guys today. We're at the continuation of the Randy Orton series. This one is Power, Gold, and Respect. We're going to talk about his short feud with Hulk Hogan, and then we'll also talk about how he formed Rated RKO with Edge, the beginning of it, and then the downfall of it as well. Now, we're at 2006 July 3rd edition of Raw. He cuts a promo about Brooke Hogan, how good she looks, complimenting her. And basically, he wants to go out with her. He's interested in her. In the process, he's also antagonizing Hulk Hogan, making insults about him and so forth. Later on, Hulk Hogan and Brooke Hogan, they appear on July 15th edition of Saturday Night Main Event. That was on NBC at the time. It doesn't air anymore, as I mentioned before in my earlier video. They come out, Hulk Hogan talks about how Brooke Hogan never, spoke to the fans. He basically introduces Hulk Hogan introduces Brooke Hogan to the fans for the first time. And he lets her speak a little bit. You could tell she seems a little nervous. Randy Orton comes out, he interrupts, he brings out a rose, compliments her again. And he said, with all due respect, Mr. Hogan, I would like to challenge you at a match at SummerSlam. Hulk Hogan gladly accepts. And that's it. They leave. They all leave. Randy Orton leaves first. Backstage, they show a segment of him and Brooke Hogan talking. Hulk Hogan sneaks up on him and says, "See you at SummerSlam, brother." So when that's done, Randy Orton said, okay, try to play it off. Plays the little scare role, and then out of nowhere, he RKO's him on top of the car. Just spark off a feud between them that's going to head off into SummerSlam. Now, later on in the weeks, Randy Orton cuts a promo. He's mocking the Hulk Hogan, and he's mocking his family. He has a fake Hulk Hogan. He has an impersonator of him, his wife, and his children. He kisses the fake Brooke Hogan. He kisses her. He insults Hulk Hogan again, RKO's him. And he basically sends a message saying, hey, I'm ready for you at SummerSlam. He cuts another promo the following week. This time it's just the impersonator Hulk Hogan, I believe the wife Linda. And the real Hulk Hogan comes out, and Randy Orton's out the ring. Hulk Hogan leg drops the impersonator, and then we're off to the SummerSlam match, SummerSlam 2006. Now, this match was not good, in my honest opinion. It was terrible. It was bland, to say the least. Long story short, there was no momentum. It wasn't no proper build in the match. Hulk Hogan pretty much had mostly offense. Randy Orton had very little offense in the match. And Hulk Hogan wins 1, 2, 3 with a leg drop. This did not make any sense to me. Hulk Hogan did not need to win this match at this point in his career. This was supposed to help Randy Orton as far as legend killer gimmick. He did not need to lose his match to Hulk Hogan at all. He should have won the match. I heard backstage that Hogan, like he always does, he demanded that he wins the match. He goes over instead of putting the younger talent over. Randy Orton was 26 at the time. I believe Hulk Hogan was in his mid-50s. Did not make no sense. Coincidentally, this is Hulk Hogan's last match in the WWE. He didn't even have another match. So he definitely should put Randy Orton over. It just was ridiculous. It killed Randy Orton. If it didn't help him, it basically destroyed him. It didn't do nothing for him. Brought him down a notch. But since that feud was over, later on, he wasn't really doing much. Like I said, he lost the feud to Hulk Hogan. He lost the match, everything. So, in this point, Edge had an episode of The Cutting Edge on Raw. It was October 9th edition. He said he had a special guest. Special guest was Randy Orton. And he wanted to talk to Randy Orton of how all the great accomplishments he did, how, he was in Evolution. He became the youngest world heavyweight champion. He was on top of the world. And then he lost it all due to Triple H. Of course, as I mentioned earlier video, how he tore him down, turned on him, and then later on took his title. Also, Edge mentions that Randy Orton was in some high-profile matches, as I mentioned, the one recently with Hulk Hogan, in my last video with Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 22, and the short feud he had with Kurt Angle. Most of those matches he had lost, and also the feud with Undertaker, which was true. He lost most of those matches. It didn't really build him up as all. He built a little heel heat. He did build that, but he lost majority of those matches. And Randy Orton was like, hey, you got 2 sets to get to the point. I'm going to drop you right down. And Edge said, I have a point. Edge himself, at this point in his career, he's a former 2-time world champion. He won the WWE Championship twice. He had the opportunity to win again. He got screwed out of it by Shawn Michaels in the steel cage match with John Cena, when Shawn Michaels super kicked the steel cage onto Edge's head. And at this point, DS is reformed. It's Shawn Michaels and Triple H. What Edge was saying is Shawn Michaels and Triple H have both screwed us time and time again. Someone needs to take a stand and stop DX. And I think we are the 2 guys to do it. We are the present, and we're going to be the future of this company. DX is the past. Will you join me into taking down DX? Randy Orton agrees. We have rated RKO. For a short period of time, Lita was there, but she left due to her. Later on, she was gone due to her real life retirement a couple months later. So next upcoming weeks, rated RKO, they antagonized DX. They was mocking DX, which was real funny. HBK was mocked by Orton, and Edge was mocking Triple H. But they wanted a match with DX. They had a match. Now, at first it started with Randy Orton having a match with Triple H on Raw. Triple H beat him one week. Randy Orton beat him another week, even though Randy Orton cheated with a steel chair. They had a match at Cyber Sunday. And the special guest referee that was voted in was Eric Bischoff. It was between him, Jonathan Coachman, and Vince McMahon. Again, another old pay-per-view. It doesn't exist anymore, where the fans voted on what type of match or what type of special guest referee should be in the match. At this match, Cyber Sunday, they did beat DX, but Eric Bischoff saw rated RKO use a chair to hit Triple H in the back. He RKO'd him on top of the chair. 1, 2, 3, rated RKO wins. They are the first team to defeat DX since they was reformed back in the summer of 2006. After that shortly was done, Eric Bischoff was the GM for that night, the following Raw. And he wanted Flair and Roddy Piper to defend their World Tag Team Championships against rated RKO. In this match, they did lose the match due to interference from DX, but they had a rematch the following week. Now, the following week, they came out for the match. Roddy Piper was contrared to by Edge. He was taken out backstage, forcing Ric Flair to defend the championships by himself. Basically a handicap match. In real life, Roddy Piper was taken out because he had lymphoma at the time. It was diagnosed, which he later passed on in 2015. Rest in peace, Roddy Piper. That was actually the last time he held any championship gold. Fun fact for you guys. So with this win, rated RKO, they defeated Flair. There's no way Flair was going to beat both of them on his own. They became World Tag Team Champions. So since they did become Tag Team Champions, they continued their feud on with D-Generation X. Now, they had a match at Survivor Series. It was a 5-on-5 match. The co-captains of DX, it was DX, the Hardy Boys, and the new upcoming star at the time, CM Punk. Versus co-captains of Rated RKO, Gregory Helms, the Cruiserweight champion at the time. You had him. You also had M&M, Mercury, and Morrison with Melina as their valet. Now this was different. The Survivor Series 5-on-5 match was a clean sweep. Everybody on Team DX were sole survivors. None of them were eliminated, and they defeated everyone. I think the last one was eliminated was Randy Orton. So that was a surprise. I never seen that in Survivor Series history where it was a clean sweep. The following Raw after Survivor Series, Ric Flair's attacked backstage. He was supposed to be the supposed guest on the cutting edge. He's attacked. He's beaten to a bloody pulp. DX had left the building already. They said it was going to celebrate, do something for Flair. But they were gone, and Rated RKO knew this. They knew they would defend Flair if something happened, and they took advantage of that. Now, after DX found out what Rated RKO did, they were highly, highly upset. HBK was upset. They cut a promo backstage with Todd Grisham, I believe. Triple H didn't say anything. He just looked pissed off. HBK has said, now it's become personal because they knew how much Ric Flair meant to them as a friend and a mentor. So they had a lot of an 8-man tag match, 6-man tag match. I think it was an 8-man tag match, the December 4th edition of Raw. It was pretty much the same team from Survivor Series except for CM Punk because he was on ECW. It was pretty much the same guys. Hardy Boys DX versus, I believe, Rated RKO and M&M. So they had that match. And, I believe Edge, Orton's team won that match. And next week it was 6-man tag. But the kicker is, it got real personal for Rated RKO side. DX already had a reason why the rivalry became personal with the attack on Flair. But this rivalry became personal on December 18th edition of Raw when Cena faced Edge for a chance for the WWE Championship, which was WWE Championship match, because Edge had won a Battle Royal to become #1 contender. Now Edge, he's going to get AA by Cena. Randy Orton interferes, RKO Cena. You think Edge is going to win the match and the WWE Championship. DS come in for the save. The pedigree Edge. Cena pins Edge. Cena is still champ. And Rated RKO now saying they become saying this is personal now because it cost Edge again the WWE Championship, as Edge mentioned when Rated RKO was formed. So they had a match of Cena, DX against Umaga and Rated RKO. Bloody bath, very bloody. They took out DX and they made them bleed. The concerto was performed on Triple H on the announce table, and Rated RKO later did the double RKO on Randy Orton. I also have a short of that if you guys want to check that out. They did the double RKO on the chair, let them bloody in the ring. It was a great beating that they gave DX. So, leading up to this, New Year's Revolution 2007 comes around. It's January 7th. and it was going to be DS versus Rated RKO for the World Tag Team Championship. DS cut a promo right before that pay-per-view saying no one ever made us bleed. Rated RKO, they got a lot of guts doing what they did. They want to take out people. It was a good promo by DX. And Triple H was saying, hey, we're like Frosted Mini Wheats. We have a good side and a fruit, a real sugary side and a real bad side. And New Year's Revolution, we're coming for Rated RKO. We're gonna take them out. So that they wasn't in the building. Rated RKO wasn't there. And Triple H made a funny joke saying they had double yeast infection. So they had the pay-per-view at New Year's Revolution. And it was a good match. Very good back and forth. Rated RKO had their moments where they were on top. DS had their moments where they were on top. But a turning point in the match. Turning point was Triple H did a spine buster to Randy Orton, and he injured his right quadricep in the process. And he could barely walk. Now, Triple H, just like early in 2001, when he injured the left one, when he used the power trip with Stone Cold Steve Austin, he injured the right one this time. Just like he did when he injured the first one, he finished that match in the tag team. This time, this was in the tag team. It's crazy. He injured his quadriceps in tag team matches. So, since he couldn't perform at 100%, DX gave it to Rated RKO. Shawn Michaels did an elbow drop from the top rope onto the announce table on Randy Orton. Triple H, with the injured quadricep, gave a pedigree to Edge on the other side of the announce table. And it ended in double disqualification after Shawn Michaels attacked the ref, hit him with chair shots, made him bleed. Bloodbath. It was a war out there. Great match. Even though Triple H got injured, Rated RKO was still going to win the match regardless. But it was great. And later on, Rated RKO came out, the Raw, and said, hey, they had to admit DS gave it to him. But they had to, what made the game more heat was we took out Triple H. He injured his quadricep. So we left Shawn Michaels on his own. And Ed said, hey, DS on life support. We did half the job with Triple H. We're going to do the other half of the job with Shawn Michaels, which the following week was a 2-on-1 handicap match. He said, we'll take HBK out too. He said, DS is on life support. We're going to pull the plug. Great promo by Rated RKO. Now, they had the match the following week on Raw. You would think that they take out HBK like they said since it's 2-on-1, but Shawn Michaels turned the tables on him. He did a concerto to Edge. As Edge was going to do a concerto, Shawn Michaels kicked the chair in his face. He tripped Randy Orton over, made him hit his front face into the chair. Concerto Randy Orton hit both of them with sledgehammer shots. He did it as a tribute to Triple H. Randy Orton, he hit in the head, and Edge, he hit in the ribs with the sledgehammer. Now, before he did a concerto to Randy Orton, he was going to attack Edge, but Edge ran out the ring, and he did not try to defend Randy Orton. So he did a concerto to Randy Orton. It took Randy out. That was it. Now, the following week, it was a street fight between Edge and HBK. And Randy Orton shows up on Raw. And Edge was like, oh, I'm surprised you're here. And yeah, Randy Orton was upset, saying, yeah, basically, I got beat up out there. You didn't stick up for me. You just stood there and watched them beat me up. Edge came with excuse saying, I got hit too. And Randy Orton says, no excuse, which I agree. You're supposed to help me out. And he said, are you going to help me get revenge with Shawn Michaels street fight or what? And Randy Orton said, go ahead, street fight, and we'll see what happens. They had their street fight, and as Shawn Michaels going to hit Edge with a chair, Randy Orton comes out of nowhere, hits him with an RKO, has Edge pin a 1, 2, 3. Edge wins the street fight, and he throws Edge over the ring In symbolism of Royal Rumble coming up, since when January 2007, that every man for himself at some point. Because Edge had cut a promo earlier that evening saying that he wants to be WWE champion again. Shawn Michaels also said he won't be WWE champion. He wants to win Royal Rumble. So now, the following week on Raw, the 29th of Raw, they defend the tag team championships against Shawn Michaels and now John Cena, the WWE champion at the time. There was some miscommunication in the match between Edge and Orton. Orton tried to throw Cena over, and accidentally Cena threw Orton into Edge. Edge fell off the apron, hit his face. Edge was like, "What is that?" And Orton's like, "Asking." He said, "Come on the ring." And Edge went off. He walked off for a second, but he came back late in the match. Long story short, Cena and HBK, they win the tag team championships. Now, since Rated RKO already had miscommunication issues, they just lost the championships. And with the Royal Rumble coming up, how they both men won a WWE championship, this is where you start to see the real cracks. This is where Rated RK really start having issues. They weren't as cohesive and dominant as they were before. Things start to slip. You know, even though they were still making noise as top heels in the company, the top tag team that were heels, there was still cracks. You start to see little cracks here and there. Because Edge he would start turning on Orton, not helping him as much. He would even go far as set Orton up in matches where he know he could not be successful and try to get beaten up badly. That was seen. Now, Royal Rumble, Edge and Orton are the last four in the match. It's those two with HBK and Undertaker. They're both eliminated. Undertaker eventually won that Royal Rumble. They try to get another shot at WrestleMania Money in the Bank match. They both are in it. They also both lost that Money in the Bank match. Eventually went to Mr. Kennedy. They're just lost in the shuffle at this point. They're going at it. It's going back and forth. It's not so much their tag team. They're bickering with each other a lot. It's a lot of segments where they're bickering, they're yelling at each other. I believe at one point in ECW, they're supposed to take out Bobby Lashley. The Vince McMahon wanted Ray RKO to do. They didn't do it because Edge got himself disqualified on purpose. Randy Orton knew that and he called him out on it. And it's just a back and forth spot. They did have a match on one episode of Raw in April. Edge versus Orton. Edge beat Randy Orton after he exposed the turnbuckle. Randy Orton hit the turnbuckle. So after Randy Orton turned around, Edge speared him 1, 2, 3. That was their one-on-one match. Like I said, there were many attempts for these two trying to get the WWE Championship. Also, at Backlash, it was Randy Orton, Edge versus HBK and Cena in a fatal four-way match. Neither one of those two guys were successful. Cena retained. It was pretty much no reason for those two to be in the tag team anymore. They lost the tag team championships back in January. They weren't on the same page. Edge was turning on Orton. There was a lot of miscommunication. It was pretty much time for them to go their separate ways. Now, at this point, after that match they had in April, Mr. Kennedy, the current Money Banking holder at the time, he had an injury and he had to force to give up that contract. So he did so. He had a match with Edge. Edge beat him for that contract and he went on to cash in against the World Heavyweight Champion at the time. The same man that won the Royal Rumble that year, as I mentioned, The Undertaker. He was off. Once he won that championship, went to SmackDown, Rated RKO was disbanded. That group was no more. They had a couple reunions, every here and there. They had one in, I think that year, and also the 15th anniversary of Raw. And every so often they would team up. But that was the end of Rated RKO. And Randy Orton went and got in a feud with John Cena for the WWE Championship. So since that was the case, they went on their separate ways. But they were still a very effective group. They did contest two shots to a lot of superstars. made a lot of people bleed. They made an impact. In my opinion, Rated RKO, Edge was already a 12-time tag team champion when they won the gold, but that was Randy Orton's first time ever winning a tag team championship in his career. Rated RKO was really, in my opinion, to help build Randy Orton. Edge was already known as a tag team specialist when he started his career, then became a single superstar. He didn't need that boost as much, even though he wasn't a champion anymore. Randy Orton needed that boost because he got lost in the shuffle with all his feuds that he had prior to joining Edge to do Rated RKO. So Rated RKO was amazing. It didn't last a year. I think it was maybe 7-8 months, but they made an impact on Raw. One of the great tag teams. I love how their theme song was combined in a Titantron. Great. The name, Rated RKO, amazing. And that's what I have for you guys today on Power, Gold, and Respect. Next video, I'm going to talk about how Randy Orton became dominant as the WWE champion, the reign he had for 6 months. Now, like, dislike, subscribe, don't subscribe. It's your prerogative, not mine. 2 videos and or shorts will pop up. Until then, OUT.